As promised, we're going to be looking at carburetors and we're going to be replacing the unit on our new boots and panties. Who was that? Ian Jury. Anyway, enough of my musical meanderings. Welcome back to Hondoogiville. I also thought we'd continue with the brake situation, and we're going to be looking at painting those. I think probably gold, same as the rear wheel. Yeah, we like the rear wheel. Anyway, I'm thinking of mounting this to the mirror thing, although that's a big hole, so we're going to need an adapter to bring that down to some kind of size like that. And at the same time, I don't really want it perched up like that. That looks ridiculous. So why don't we swap this round and see what it looks like the other way? Yeah, even with that, it's still a bit pokey outy, isn't it? Protrusion again. We don't like it. Don't. Maybe. It's just a little bit tall, isn't it? No, that's just plain stupid. And then before we start tackling the carburetors themselves, I'm just looking at the throttle cable, which is probably a little lengthy now. So there it is down there. And it comes up here and it goes through that little tab on the frame. So what I've had to do to make it even remotely, so I've taken it round the front and then round the back there and up to here. I guess we could turn that round somehow, take up a bit more slack, but it's all a bit crap. It's about 6 inches too long. I don't know. What I don't want to do is order another cable and find out that it doesn't actually fit into this fitting, because that was the beauty of this, that it actually just screwed into that fitting. I haven't actually attached the cable to the twist grip. That's still free and loose. Yeah, so I don't know what we want to do here, but that is far from ideal. As always, there's more than one way to skin the cat, proverbially at least, and I'm not sure about this. Maybe this should go out the front, but we have taken up all the slack by routing it around the outside of that front fork, yeah, and down to there. And of course it's going to come forward another 2 inches at least, so potentially that'll work. Well, maybe we don't take it round the back of this one, maybe we take it round the front of this one. Anyway, I think we're getting there, and we've got lots of options for routing that will make that work, because we don't want to make it too complicated. After all, it is a cable and it needs to be fairly straightforward. The other option is just to go for something really short that comes literally out the handlebars through here and down there. So we'll follow the finger. Yeah, so that route. Not sure about that. And of course, we got the same problem with the clutch cable. Yes, so I've measured the accelerator cable, and it's 40 inches from end to end, and from here to there is 20 inches. So we've got kind of twice the capacity, which is a little bit much. Clutch cable wise, so right now it's just kind of following the frame. It's going to be a little bit tighter than that, so we're going to have even more flapping about, and that's going to fit something like that. So that's not ideal either. And that was routing it inside here, whereas if we route it around the outside, which ain't pretty there, That kind of work. Actually, that'll be tight. Yeah, that's pushing it. So, yeah, and you know, what a nightmare, eh? Yes, speechless. So, for the purposes of this exercise, I have decided not to use Photoshop, although that might help, but I decided to remove that instead and just muck about with a cable. And it gets more complicated down there because that's not where the story ends. No, the story actually ends completely the other side of that round thing. Yeah. So that's fun. Yeah, right there you can just see the other end of the cable. So there's probably at least 3 to 4 inches of that out the other end of the sheath. Yeah, from there on top of the 40 inches that I've already measured. So quite honestly, even if I was to talk to somebody who could manufacture a custom cable, I'm not quite sure what I'd have to tell them about how long I want it to be. So we're going to have to make this work one way or another. I think the most important thing is that this, from the carburetor kind of going forward, is as straight as possible. So I want to keep it where Honda put it, inside this little clip on the side of the frame. So it's all about what we do with the other 2 foot. Whether we go under or over. It's an up and under. Or, I don't know. Round, round, up, down. I think what we're going to do is actually put the bloody carburetors on so that they're in position at least, and then we know what we're playing with. Because at this point we're kind of wasting time. So we're going to do that, and then we'll come back to this. So that'll be an exciting episode, and more opportunities for Suba to be wearing out the carpet, pacing back and forth. Anyway, meantime, we got these suckers off. Yes, I know we're supposed to be doing carburetors, but these are calipers. It's C in the alphabet. So this is interesting. So these are the 2 bolts that actually go into the brake fitting itself, which is now leaking out onto the thing. That one, yeah, there, yeah. So one's massive aperture, and the other one is not. Maybe something to do with the original line set. Yeah, because one came off the other caliper, so you'd want a bigger flow down the first one that then ended up, I don't know. And then these are the bolts that actually fit the calipers to the frame. And there's no hole in the side of them, and yet they're hollow. What's that about? They don't need to be, right? Superfluous hole. But it's adding lightness, so we like it. Strange. Anyway, what I'm going to do is drain out all the fluid that's sort of currently peeing out all over the floor. Let's wipe that up. And yeah, I'm going to paint them gold. Or maybe blue. I haven't made my mind up yet. Good news is I've got a bag ready prepared for GSXR brake stuff. For Christ's sake, when's he going to get on with the carburetors? I know, it's coming, I promise. Anyway, I'm leaving those to drain. Okay, carburetors, I know. I feel a toothbrush moment coming on. Carburetors. But seriously, just before we begin the carburetors, I promise I'm going to fit them. I just need to get 4 more of those. Anyway, I'm looking at these, right? I'm looking at the natural way that they go, right? And I'm wondering if we take the left and put it on the right and still bring it down here, and then the right and put it on the left and still bring it down here, whether that would work better. So we shall try that when we eventually drain them and paint them and whatever else we're going to do. I'm sure it's going to involve a dishwasher, but don't tell the missus. Anyway, before we get on to the carburetors, I'm still playing around with the seat idea. Yes, the new idea. Yeah, so kind of 3 fins, and kind of looks nice. Maybe with some holes in even. But yeah, what do you think? And I thought I'd see what it really looked like and cut some out of some corrugated. It's kind of cool, isn't it? It's a bit Sydney Opera House, wouldn't you say? I don't know, cruise ship. Obviously the front of the seat would be lower in comparison to it all, but you get the idea, kind of fanning out and coming to meet the seat. Still doesn't solve where I'm going to put the battery, but honestly, I think the battery's just going to go there. There's a big hole, and I've ordered that cover, so we'll see if that cover fits to start with and see what it looks like. Anyway, that's the seat. So I promise I'll do the carburetor next, as soon as I get those clips. Anyway, something more like that. Maybe, is it not so long? Because the brake light comes out to about there, I think. Yeah. Well, food for thought. There, like that. See what I'm getting at? Remember? Yes, I know, it's the brake line, it's not the bloody carburetor. I know. Honestly, soon. What's so exciting about carburetors anyway? What do you mean you just tuned in to see that? You're not interested in the project? Well, I don't suppose you'll be subscribing then, but you should be. So, if you haven't already, subscribe and encourage others to watch my lunacy. Yes, talking of carburetors, do you remember these? My turbo fan air intakes. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know. What do you think? Leave some comments. I think 4 of these is going to be a bit much. They're a bit bigger than I thought they were going to be. They might work like on a BM, you know, the Boxer Twin, something like that. I think they might look quite cool. On this, I think they're going to be too much. But let's get the carbs on and then we'll fiddle around with air filters. He's going to get the carburetor. Well, I have some bad news. I tried very, very hard. Who knew these were so difficult to find, this thin? Yes, I went to Ace, I went to O'Reilly's, I went to, anyway. No one has them. Of course, if I didn't have the 4 in the first place, we wouldn't be looking for them, would we? We'd be just using the bigger ones and not worrying about the fact they don't fit neatly into the little rubber grooves. But I kind of want to do this now. So I've got to find some. I shall be Amazoning it. And that means it's going to be next episode. Yeah. Anyway, good news is what did turn up is the brake shoes. Quite nice. And not that much more on them than are on the ones that are in there, actually. So I don't know if they need replacing or not. Anyway, we'll put them in. And the chain, yeah, lovely, blue, sexy. Better just try that. Make sure it's the right fit and everything. And what else? Oh yes, this, my little 6-incher, which is a little bit long. Amazingly. So maybe we shift that over to the other side again. Oh yes, there's that. Yeah, we'll probably do that, but if not, we'll just flip this round so it hangs down from the mount, and then yes, and then that will be too long, won't it? Yes, but never fear, because we still have the short version, so don't panic. Well, it looks pretty, but it doesn't fit. It's the wrong fucking gap between the teeth, despite it being Honda CB750 friendly. So obviously this bloody sprocket is different. It's not a good day for sizes. See, teeth don't fit. Yes, it turns out there's more to these chains than meets the eye. Although actually, if you look at it carefully, it does meet the eye. That's clearly a lot bigger. Yeah, never had this problem before. I guess I just got lucky. So here's how to measure a chain and work out what you need. First of all, one of these fancy electronic jobs is not going to help much, because even when it's set to inches, which it is now, it does it in decimals as opposed to fractions. So we're going to revert to our cranky old metric imperial analog system. So the first measurement you're going to need is between the pins, and this is the first number in the chain spec. So get it roughly in the middle, and you'll see that there is 6/8. Most chains, like these two off the Yamaha and the MV, are 5/16. So most chain sizes start with a 5, but that's your first number in the chain reference. This is a big ass chain, so it's a 6. And 6s are generally 6/30s. Now, how do we get to a 30? Good question. That equates to about 0.8 of an inch, or 20 millimeters, if you're using one of these fancy boys. So that's the 6, and 5/8 is about 14 mil. You can look it up. Or 0.55 of an inch. So the next part makes no sense whatsoever to me, but apparently it involves 1/16 of an inch. Thankfully we don't get down to 32nds or 64ths. So going back to our big ass Honda chain, the next thing to do is to measure the gap in between here. As I say, for a 6/30, it's kind of irrelevant because it's basically going to be a 6/30. But we're looking in 1/16. And the key to this all appears to be, now if it's over 5/16, it's a 30. If we were measuring a 5 chain and it was under 5/16, then it would be a 5/20 or a 5/22. But if it's 5/16, it will be a 5/25, which is kind of your standard chain, honestly, and that's where I got lucky in the past because I never bothered measuring any of that. Then, of course, there's the whole question, how many links do you need? Well, yeah, you have to count them, I'm afraid. So the easy thing to do is just count the big ones and then double it. Yeah. Work out how much slack you had in the chain in the first place as to whether you want to have a few less or a few more. Err on the side of caution and add a few just to be safe, I would say, unless you're very confident, because you can always chop a couple out if you need to. Anyway, I'm not sure about the fan rate, the rate of climb, but something like that. I think it needs to be a little bit steeper, doesn't it, at the back there. And it just so happens to have 4 of these spacers from my dodgy suspension. Yes, that dodgy suspension. So that's better. Yeah. I don't know what we'll do about the front. I think we need to, this front, I think we need to shave down those original mounts a little bit. But that's okay, because they're kind of plastic. So we can file them down a bit if we need to. Yes, indeedy. Very Sydney Opera House. As homage to my Australian fans. I don't know. Talking of which, if you haven't watched any of my other videos, even in this series, then just for FYI, this is the pillion seat from an MV Augusta 750 F4. Which I happen to have kicking around, because there's the MV Augusta 750 F4, yes, which has been customised, which is another one of my episodes. Yes, I have episodes. I had a big episode when I decided to start doing this. Anyway, on that operatic note, it would be very tempting to sing the conclusion to this episode, but that would surely result in more unsubscriptions, so I'm not going to do that. So, yes, thanks for watching, and if you thought it was entertaining, give it a thumbs up. Interesting, give it a thumbs up. ridiculous, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, alright, whatever. And if you'd like to see some more, we'll be doing some really cool stuff. We will be putting the carburetors on next time, I promise. So subscribe. And what is it down there? Encourage others to watch my lunacy.